Less than a week until Election Day, Kamala Harris held a second Get Out the Vote rally in Harrisburg, urging Pennsylvania voters to head to the polls ahead of Election Day. The Vice President reiterated that it's time to turn the page of a decade of Donald Trump trying to divide Americans. Ms. Kamala Harris continued to blast Mr. Trump on a number of issues, including economy, healthcare, and women's reproductive rights. Prior to his rally, former President Donald Trump went into a garbage truck in a construction worker suit. He wore the outfit during the rally as well. He rebutted against President Joe Biden, who had called his supporters garbage after a comedian at a Trump rally referred to Puerto Rico as a floating island of garbage. The Republican candidate described Kamala Harris as the politically correct peak and claimed President Joe Biden lies more than Ms. Kamala Harris. Well, voters on the ground in the swing states are divided in their view about both candidates' abilities to lead America well.
So now is the time to remind our neighbors and our friends to make a plan to vote in person on Election Day, or to return your mail ballot. And Pennsylvania, if you still have a mail ballot, you can take it to a ballot drop box or an election office in your county by 8 p.m. on Election Day. Let's spread the word.
5 months ago, they said you couldn't even think about using her. She's grossly incompetent, right? Then all of a sudden they wanted to get politically correct, and they chose her above 12 other people that frankly were much more capable. But what they did to Biden, and I'm no fan of his, but you know what the rumor is? He likes me more than her. Can you believe that? He likes me. He likes me more.
Well, for an analysis on this upcoming election, we have Global Affairs analyst Ejike Okpai joins us from Dallas, Texas in the United States. It's good to have you join us on the news.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, I know that I was going to ask first, what are your initial reactions to this intense last-minute campaigns that we've seen from former President Donald Trump and Vice President Kamala Harris?
Well, I mean, excuse me, it's typical. I mean, we are, a few days, from the election day, Tuesday next week, November 5th. So, this is electioneering time, and people are going, the candidates are going to say what it is they want to say to hopefully persuade those who have not voted or people who are still on the fence. I have voted, so there's nothing anybody's going to say to change that position. But there are still some people, last minute voters, which is typical of Americans. They wait for the last minute to see what it is that's going to persuade them. For me, I get persuaded easily when it comes to politics. I'm a Republican. I don't apologize for it. So Kamala is saying what Kamala is saying. She's now getting the feeling that obviously her balloon's been punctured and she's feeling deflected it. That's why, Obama, Clinton, Biden all campaigning for her. Or what is his name? Clinton campaign, and the campaign of Harris saying, hey, don't say any more thing for us because she's causing us more damage. So at the end of the day, Americans are going to look at the two candidates. It's not whoever else is, their surrogates or championing for them. They're going to look at Harris, they're going to look at Trump and decide who they want. There are no perfect candidates in elections. In fact, politics is not about the angels in them, it's about the angles. At the end of this day, we're going to have a winner, and then we're going to have those who lost, who's going to, sulk and say whatever it is they say, and then we wait for the next time. But what is I find amazing is saying that Trump said, Puerto Ricans are floating garbage. Trump never said that. Somebody in his campaign said that. And then Harris come and said, Trump's decade. Trump has not
but
never been in office.
If you take a look at some of these rhetorics, coming from either the supporters or some of these two candidates, that's what I'm asking you. Like, what do you say about this last-minute campaigns where you have this rhetoric coming from both parties and then talking down on people? Do you think some of this, would make the undecided voters, right, pick a candidate?
Well, like I said, this is not new in America. You go back as far as you want to go, you see that's how Americans do their politics. For me, I feel that our electionary period is too long, but we can't change it constitutionally. I think this should be like a 6 months exercise from the date the candidates announced to the date of election. But this thing starts 2 years ago. And so it's a build up. It's a build up to the day of the election. But, again, the people that make money out of this are the media people because, you look at the swing states, all the money that has been spent is being spent over there. And who's getting it is the people that do the act. It's the TV people that post the act. So they want to see this. It's a revenue part because once this is over, who remembers some of these swing states? Nobody cares about them, but because they're the ones that oftentimes decide on the electoral vote. Remember, in our system, we have the majority vote and then we have the electoral vote. That's why you see the effort being pushed and put in places where, we're just going to count the electoral votes because it's a winner takes all kind of system when it comes to electoral vote. So that's what you see. It doesn't persuade, you come to my neighborhood, people don't even know you have signs for both candidates. Well, people are going to go vote. And then we wait for the count and see who wins. So the rhetoric doesn't really persuade anybody. It doesn't make anybody. It's just some people who are new to it, they shake their head. But this is how the American campaign goes. No other country does it the way America do it, and that's what it is.
But if you take a look at some of the policies, statements that each of these candidates have made in the last couple of months, were there any significant policy shifts for you or surprises from either candidate?
Not necessarily, because again, electioneering is different from governing. And so once you govern, no president is going to govern without the Congress. I.e., while everybody's championing who is going to be the president, remember we're going to see who is going to be the majority in the House and majority in the Senate. If you get those, that's where the governing part comes in. But the presidents get the biggest audience, they get the biggest attention because they're the ones, they're the top of the heap, if I want to use that expression of the political ladder. So all eyes are on them, but, it is now when they get sworn in, it's now when you sit behind that desk in the Oval Office, now you now know that to govern is different. And then the policies start to, most times what you said in the campaign don't even show up because the agenda has to be done has to be determined by the House. What America wants to see happen. And then, hopefully, if that agenda fits what the president wants to do, or if the president pushes for the agenda and the House passes it, it becomes law and it makes the difference.
But for you, what major policy would you say resonates with most Americans?
Well, it's got to do with the economy and of course, the issue of immigration. It sort of baffles me that a country as sophisticated as America is, we have the issue with illegal immigrants that come in here and sometimes they vote. No other country would do that. I mean, you try in some countries, you are not a citizen and you go vote, they haul you out physically and maybe jail you. But here, because parties want to take advantage of certain people, thinking by allowing certain people to come in and giving them the free hand, then oftentimes they get some sympathy votes. The Democrats want to be the party that they always sympathize with your situation. And so that's why we want these illegal people to come. America is a nation of immigrants. We're not saying people shouldn't come. We're saying come legally. Because when you come legally and go through the process of legalizing your status and becoming a citizen, then you avail yourself of all the things that naturalized citizens do. And the only thing that you can become in America as a naturalized citizen is become president. You have to be born here and meet all that requirement. But, for the party, especially the Democrats, they want the illegal because, for them, those are the ones that are easily persuadable, and those are the ones that look for sympathy. So, because democracy means Democrats, they are not the same thing. So, those are the two things. And then the economy of jobs, price. When 4 years ago, I was doing like $30 to fill, depending on the grade of gasoline that I buy. But today, it's costing me twice. Has my income jumped as a result of that? No. So those are the things, when you hit the Americans on their pocketbooks, then you're going to get their attention, regardless of what people say. How did we get from paying $1 something for gas to where now we're paying 2 times that? That's what's going to get their attention.
Global Affairs Analyst Ejike, thank you so much for bearing your mind on this crucial topic. Of course, come November 5th, right? We should be getting to know what the President of the United States, if it's your candidate, I know where you stand.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for joining us on The World Now.